I'm back. I had to get
Great.
my let me see. I'm trying to see the best way. I said, let me get on the sun today because we're going to be talking about Sunfired Foods, huh? Right?
That's right.
All
That's
right.
right. Absolutely. Yes, yes. Well, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me in your space.
Thank you for coming. You know, I am so excited. I told a good friend of mine, he's vegan. He's been vegan for the past, 20, 25 years. And I told him that
Yes.
I'm going to be interviewing you. He was so jealous. And
Ah.
he said, he said, send me the link. I want to be on. I was like, don't say anything. And he was giving me a whole bunch of questions. And I'm like, I got my own questions. Back up. So let me, it's Dr. Aris LaTham. Did I pronounce it correctly?
The
I
H
did
is
my
silent.
research.
The H is silent. LaTham.
LaTham.
Yes,
So
yes.
let's get started. Hey
Okay.
everybody, this is Dr. Elisha Robinson, your integrative healing specialist, and I have a treat for you. I have Dr. Aris LaTham. He has a PhD in food science, and he's also the developer and creator of Sunfired Food. Did I get that correct, Dr. LaTham?
You have it correct. Yes,
Okay,
thank you.
let me boast about you a little bit. Can I do that? So he is a world-renowned culinary innovator and a health and wellness motivational speaker. In 2004, the 2004-2012 edition of Oxford Encyclopedia. So you are in the encyclopedia, my friend. Uh, he is the author of the raw food movement. Well, actually, the raw food movement owes much to Dr. Aris LaTham. I got it. I love saying that name, LaTham. As he's a native of Panama, correct? You're native of Panama. He's
That's correct.
considered to be
That's
the
correct.
father of gourmet, ethical raw food cuisines in America. He debuted his raw food creations in 1979 when he started Sunfired Foods, which he's going to tell us all the juicy, gory details about the Sunfire. I did my research and I'm just excited to hear more. Um, this was actually in Harlem, New York, right? Sunfire got it started in Harlem, New York. And
That's right.
in the years since,
Right.
he has trained thousands of raw food chefs and added innumerable recipes to his repertoire. Now, I love the fact that you speak Swahili, correct?
Yes, well, it's a little dormant. It's been years since
Uh-huh.
those muscles have been activated,
Well, come
but
on, let's work those muscles right now because my
ah,
my ex-husband is Kenyan. And so
okay,
that's his.
yes.
I wish he was here. You know, I mean, I could put him on so you guys can talk. Well, habari yako? Habari yako?
Unzuri, unzuri kabisa.
Ay.
Yes.
So, sifa hamo Kiswahili kidogo.
Well, lakini Kiswahili ninasema kidogo pia. Pia,
Just a
kidogo.
little bit. So what I said was, we said hello. We're just greeting each other, and I said hello, habari yako, how you doing? He said he's doing well, and I said I only understand a little Swahili, and he said that you only know a little bit too. Didn't you say that as well? Or you only speak a little
I
bit?
only speak a little bit because
Yeah.
I haven't used it in over 40. I haven't lived it in over 40 years now.
Okay, gotcha. So I'm really
Yes.
asking you to brush up. So
You're asking me to exercise some muscles that's been dormant.
yes. I'm so excited because you are all over the internet, my friend. And in the age of COVID-19, when we have to stay at home, I am so interested because I have my own view on how to treat it. And I have a special way on how I treat COVID-19 with my patients. But just to start off first and foremost, I want to kind of ask you to kind of give us a little bit of background about yourself.
Well, having been born in Panama to grandparents of Jamaican and Barbadian descent, who were the builders of the canal.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up in that environment at the time, a U.S. territory placed in the heart of a Latin country, a Spanish-speaking country. So obviously, I grew up with a tricultural, trilingual, background.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, those three eating systems were in effect. But the one that had me engaged, of course, is the one we ate at home. So that traditional Caribbean cook up, with all the spicy food and the fresh excitement, because we're talking 1947, 73 years ago, prior to, the modern, industrialization, because it was about icebox, and cold pot and those types of things. So obviously that kept us geared towards fresh food.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever it was that was cooking, it was fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it was fish, it was fresh catch that day.
Yeah.
If it was a chicken, I wrung the neck off myself,
Yeah.
and we had to eat it that night because the ice box wasn't going to hold it up overnight.
That was
And
my
on and
in Kenya.
oh yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We didn't even, when I was there, my ex-husband and I, we didn't even have a refrigerator in our
Oh
condo.
yes.
No, we went to the market every day and everything was fresh.
That's right.
Fresh. If we had fish or meat, it was fresh. You
That's
ate it
right.
that day, no refrigeration.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's my legacy. And after 17 years of living, that pristine jungle fresh life, in harmony, with nature, then I landed in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, New York,
Woo!
in the heart of
Brooklyn.
concrete. Oh yeah, in the 60s, in the heat of life,
Mhm.
So it was quite a culture shock, to say the least. At least definitely a dietary shock. A rude awakening to the sad diet, the standard American diet. So
Did you get
getting
sick?
introduced.
Did you get sick
Well,
coming from
not
Panama and then
initially.
going?
No, we're talking a 17-year-old kid that was active, out running, swimming, jumping, just really just sweating and burning it up. So I never got sick, but I got to the point where, here I am on college campus, a few years later, and the buzzword was back to the land, natural living, black power, hell no, we won't go,
Right.
anti-Vietnam War move. So this was a consciousness decision on my part to be able to basically move with the rhythm of the revolution to
Yeah.
defend my life and not shoot myself, in the stomach with with bad food, with
Right.
weaponized foods,
Right.
So it was major for me on that level, because it wasn't about animal rights, wasn't about human rights, wasn't about being sick, wasn't about saving the environment. It was about defending my life,
Right.
protecting my being through,
Right.
being conscious of what I put into my mouth. So everything has been, right on the foot trail of that. And, I'm proud to say today, the revolution is now being televised.
Hey, well, it has to
Yeah.
be. It has to be.
Oh, yeah.
So you brought something up that is really, really dear to my heart, because I talk about that a lot. Weaponized. I don't use that term, but I am a general surgeon by training, and I went to school and did became board certified or fellowship trained in breast surgery. So I did cancer. You had breast
Yes.
cancer, I cut it out. And so just a few years of dealing with that death, what I saw, the trend I saw was we just band-aided it. We cut, burn, poison, and we really didn't do any inner healing. And so, of course, it's a natural 180 degree, well, actually 360 degree for me, because I'm going back to my roots, where my parents are from. My parents are from the South. And so we were raised with holistic medicine. We were raised, even in the inner city, we had gardens in our backyard. My dad gave us the castor oil. We did even right now, I'm drinking my juice. I've been juicing,
Yes.
and so I understand how the bad food was pushed into the inner city, and that the toxic, we got the leftovers, and it kind of goes back to slavery. How
Oh yeah.
I'm not even calling us slaves, because we were not slaves. We were enslaved people, enslaved Africans. We were given the leftovers. The chitlins were the leftovers. The tubers were the leftovers. And so those type of foods, which we call, oh, it's just soul food. No, that it's toxic waste and leftovers that absolutely have nothing to do for our bodies. And we see that in the inner city youth, how they eat. They don't eat healthy. And that's because these weaponized foods have been put into our communities. What is your view? Why did you use that terminology, weaponized food?
Well, one of my immediate influence during that time, we're talking 1968, was a book written by a young lady out of Washington, D.C., Lena Mobley, self-published little booklet. The title of it was Food as a Weapon.
Yeah.
And identifying what made a wax apple, a weapon to human consumption. And up and down the line, all of the processed foods and so forth. And also reading, the book by Hakeem Madhubuti, also known as Don L. Lee.
Yes.
From Plan to Planet.
Yes.
So if we go anywhere as a people, we need to get off the planning stage and really get to the planetary vibration. One of the things that are holding you back that you need to look at is about your wellness.
Right.
And there's some foods that you're eating that are mutants, that are mutated food, white foods, white sugar, white flour, white salt, these types of things that offer you no value. They're empty calories, and you need to go back to the source. You need to go back to the original. So these, so I came up in that time, in that revolutionary time, where we called it what it is, and did not bite our tongue, and got into defending our life, protecting our lives. And that's the foundation that I'm still living on today.
For those of you who don't know, you name dropping over here. And I may look young because I eat healthy, but I'm old. I'm old school. and Hakeem Madhubuti, Edgeworth Danticat, the Black Writers Movement, Bell Hooks. Yes, Gwendolyn Brooks. Oh yeah. So you speaking my lingo here. I'm loving it. You got a younger son.
Oh yes, yeah. I mean, these are people that I had the honor, to be able to be on stage with. Yeah. At the Black Holistic Retreat.
Ooh,
and I'm one of the young kids on the block. But the thing is, my hook is that I could spice some food. So I would be like, guess who's coming with dinner?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was an honor to be able to sit at the feet of those masters. It was an honor to be able to serve Susan Taylor, and to see, what we had going on back then, and still keeping it going on, and to be able to contribute to that, and to be living to tell it right now on a level, where my faculties are intact.
Yes.
Yeah, 2020 vision and everything else.
Ooh, yes.
Ready
it feels good. So how long have you been a raw foodist? Is that what you call yourself, a raw foodist?
No, I'm not a raw food. I eat cooked food, cooked by the sun.
Okay, so tell us about this Sunfired.
Yeah, well,
this terminology. Break it down to us.
I've been Sunfired now for 44 years.
Woo, that's a long time.
And that's a word that I coined in 1979 in Harlem to really put it in a positive light, because there's nothing raw about a banana, about lettuce, tomatoes, these types of food. These things are cooked by the sun. And that's why I don't even identify myself as a chef either, because I cannot compete with the sun. I cannot stand next to the sun. Our food is cooked by the sun. The growing period is the cooking process. So from the time you see that blossom burst out on those cherry trees in Washington, D.C., the pot is simmering. It's getting ready. So when those cherries are ripe, ready, juicy, sweet, black, and just fit to harvest, they're perfectly cooked by the sun. A very slow, meticulous, and exacting cuisine. And when it's ready, the bird's coming home to eat. So it's time for us to, and you don't even have to do anything. You just hang out by the cherry trees and they'll drop right on you, right in your hands, in your lap, even in your mouth if you're in the right spot. So, the natural, original, and best food for human consumption are foods that do not have to be cooked by human beings. This what we call, scientifically, they call it threpsology. It's an outdated technology. We don't have to cook anymore on the level that look, human beings, we invented the art of cooking, of fire. So prior to the advent of fire, the argument is done. That's it. We did not eat cooked food prior to the advent of fire. So you check out how long it's been since we began using fire, and you'll tell how long we've been experimenting in eating cooked food, trying to adapt to this food. We cannot adapt to eating cooked food and live an optimal life in wonderful health. And this is one of the things that has really set us back, drastically as human beings. So anyway, hey, the experiment is over. The jury is in. We can't adapt to eating cooked food. It is not, it doesn't work for our system. Our system is a little more sensitive than that. So we need to come on back home.
Yes. It's amazing that you said that, because growing up in the inner city, of course, we were thrown, into that weaponized. We had access to weaponized foods, but being that my parents are from the South, and my mom actually, her parents were sharecroppers. So my dad, they had, literally for dinner, my dad would say, go to the backyard. We had a garden in the backyard,
right.
And
That's right.
We would have cantaloupe, fresh cantaloupe. And I hated cantaloupe back then, but I love it now. That's like my favorite fruit. And okra, and all types of like food. And my dad would literally, and this is how I got my start. My dad he had a juicer, and he would juice the fruit, and he would have carrot juice, and the looks on our faces, it was just disgusting to us. But it's crazy how he instilled that within me. And I'm a surgeon, and I don't do surgery anymore for personal reasons, but I end up going back to school to learn the proper way to help someone to heal. And so over the past month, I've been doing a lot of fasting, some spiritual fasting, and some juice cleansing, and I can't eat food, like literally my body is craving just fresh juices. And so
that's right.
One of the questions that I wanted to ask you was, because you said you want us to eat, it's good for us to eat food in its natural form. And so What do you think about juicing? What's your take on juicing?
Well, one thing with me, it's been 40 years now that I do not drink water, as most people know water. I don't drink bottled water, spring water, well water, ionized water, alkaline water. I don't drink any water that's been mechanically processed, filtered by humans. My water comes from the plants, directly from the plant. My relationship with the universe is through the plant kingdom. So I drink coconut water. I drink watermelon, watercress, water apple, water orange, water cucumber, water spinach. I drink my water in the way of juice. So I think we've gotten lost somewhere along the way, and we see what has happened to the whole water source on the planet. It's been hijacked. It's been hijacked by the water cartel, and now we have to buy water. And it's just not enough. It's not, yeah, water is great. We do need water. The body is a good 70% water, liquid, but getting just a blank water that only hydrates and pretty much does nothing else, I'd rather use my capacity to drink water that's going to hydrate me, but also is going to give me the perfect amount of sugar, 10% sugar in coconut water. So when I make something with coconut water, I don't need to sweeten it. I don't need to add a sweetener. The water is already pre-sweetened by nature, you know, and just on and on. So there's a whole science behind this. You know, a coconut tree is actually a spring. You know, it is a filtration system. And who is doing earth? The sun is pumping this water out of the earth. And the coconut tree is trying to grow up to reach the height of the sun. It is the highest grown food tree on the planet. And it's 100% water when it's young, without pulp, without any meat, any flesh in it or anything like that. So it is the most electrical food on the planet. It has more electrolytes than anything else. So you're talking hydration and instant energy, you know, that the body doesn't have to work, doesn't have to process to generate. It comes ready to go. You're talking real fast food, you know. So, you know, so this is the whole principle, the whole foundation of where I've been standing on for now 44 years, as I mentioned, but also 50 years of not consuming any animal-based products whatsoever, eating all plant foods 100% for 50 years. And let me tell you, I am not sick. I'm not ill. There is no reason why we should be ill, why we should get sick, why we should get a cold, why should we get a flu, why we should get cancer. That is a whole nother vibration. The human body is not designed to break down like that, you know. And if it does, in some way, based on these environmental hazards or these toxins that we're putting in our body that are actually foodless foods, and the body cannot process them and assimilate them effectively, then the body knows how to heal itself. The human body is totally self-healing. We need to just give it a chance. Let it be. You know.
You know what? You are talking my language. Oh my gosh. That's exactly.
Shut the digestive system down.
Yes.
Period. Because the body cannot eliminate, it cannot heal, it cannot restructure as long as it's busy digesting. So take a fast. Take a break. Give the digestive system a vacation.
I want to segue into that. So we got your stance on juicing. Juicing is good. Do you like the Norwalk juicers? Which juicer do you use?
Well, actually, it really depends on the individual and where you are. But we need to really get innovative with a lot of this stuff. You know, see, the Norwalk juicer, yeah, it is the best technology on the market because it's an hydraulic press juicer. It doesn't oxidize the food, so the nutrients don't break down as swiftly as you do with most other systems. But for me, and especially dealing with our people and dealing with where we are and the whole issue of technology right now, we need to simplify this thing. You know, we need to simplify. So really, just with a blender, you could use a blender, even your regular little 10 noisemaker level of speed, you know, your little household blender, and just put your cucumber in there, the carrot, the spinach, the beet, put it in there, blend it. If you have to add a little coconut water in there or put your cucumber in first and generate a liquid base. Then you add your other vegetables and blend it. We're talking less than 30 seconds of blending. Would blend down a blender full. And you just pour that into a press bag, a juice bag, or some people may call it a milk bag or nut milk bag or things of that nature. Even just use a stocking.
Yeah.
Just use a piece of nylon. Use a knee-high stocking. Pour that blended vegetable or fruit combination in there and just press it out by hand. Human body press. And you're going to get basically all that you need.
Right.
All the nutrients is in there. The pulp that's left is probably just as you would get from a Norwalk press. But you're just using your energy, using your vibration, you adding your love to it and all of these other things, and you're not really looking at something that seems to be impossible, to go buy me a $3,000 juicer. That's for some of our people, they're not ready for that kind of dedication, that kind of commitment. But I know you have a blender. So let's activate it, you know, and let's get busy. So for me, when the doctor says, drink 8 glasses of water a day, because, for goodness sake, look at what you're eating, that water has to be a living water. So I would drink 8 glasses of juice, fresh made juice every day, so I'm getting my hydration. But also I'm getting my minerals. I'm getting, so I'm getting the micronutrients as well. My vitamins. I'm getting the enzymes. The pigmentation, the oxygen.
Yeah.
The oxygen.
That's awesome.
The macronutrient, water.
Oh my God, I'm just loving this. So, you talked about fasting, and when my patients come. And with any disease, I basically do elimination, removing the toxic animal protein type things in their from their diet. And I have them, I kid you not, I tell every patient, I said, you don't need me. You can heal anything with prolonged fasting. I tell them, I said 4 things. I say water, hydration. I say prayer, meditation, focusing yourself, getting rid of stress. I say getting rid of toxic foods, and then I list the 5, it's like 5 food groups. I tell them eliminate that, and I said fast. Do some prolonged fasting where you work your way up to these 40-day cleanses, because there's a new phenomenon called autophagy that is coming into play that the body already knows about processing and breaking down toxins. Yes. So fasting is, I believe, the number one way to heal any disease. How do you approach fasting? What are your thoughts about fasting? And give me some advice that I can give my patients, or for our listeners, what advice can you give them, especially during this pandemic time, to help protect themselves and also to combat these diseases that we are experiencing in our cultures?
Well, number one, I would definitely make them, more conscious of the fact that fasting is nothing new to them at all. Mm-hmm. You do it every day for 8 hours. When you shut it down and you go to sleep, even involuntary, you don't have a choice. It is a built-in safety valve that you must sleep every day. You are actually on a fast. And the classical definition of a fast is to hold fast. Really, nothing goes past your lips at all. No liquid, no solid, or anything whatsoever. It's just oxygen. You're just on the breath. And that's why in ancient time, our ancestors would say, so-and-so fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. And you fast every night. So that's built in, that's automatic. So what you're doing now is we want to build upon that culture. So when you are fasting at night, you're actually putting your life into the body shop, because that's when the body gets to do its repair work. So it's 8 hours of reparation, period, that the body is breaking down the dead cells that it cannot no longer utilize and building new ones. So you see what happens at a newborn infant. They'd be like sleeping their life away.
Yeah.
Because they have to be able to allow the body to focus on building, on that construction work. So you can't be diverting, you know, that power, that force, trying to do other things, especially digesting. The body cannot digest and build simultaneously. And we see, if we didn't have this safety valve built into us, most of us would have been eating 24 hours a day. And you will be backed up. We're already backed up in our waking hours from after we break our fast in the morning. We go into phase 2. And phase 2 is the break fast period. It is not a meal. That's a whole capitalization, a hijacking of our food basket. Someone come up with this meal, they call it a breakfast. No, it is a break fast. And scientifically, you do not break a fast with hash brown, bacon, you know, toast, you know, cornmeal porridge, or none of that stuff. That is totally unscientific. Because when you're fasting, when you're sleeping at night and that stomach empties, it comes to its rudimentary stage. And that is a clenched fist. This is the normal size of your stomach. Your fist emptied, your stomach emptied. It's your clenched fist. And for you to open that bag in the morning, first thing, and you know, the doctor, they one of the first ones to chime in and say, you know, yeah, the breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Yay, doc. Thank you. That is right. It is the most important meal of the day, because if you break that fast incorrectly and you open that bag wide open first thing in the morning with that toast, the bagels, the grits, and all that heavy breakfast food, basically starch and grease, starch and protein. These are not, because see, when the body goes into this break fast period, this is the elimination phase of your day. You have 8 hours to eliminate, to empty the trash bin of the waste that was generated during the period that you were in the body shop at night, sleeping, doing the repair work. So it's emptying the trash bin in the morning, and you have 8 hours to do this. So if you short circuit that elimination period by putting in complex carbohydrates, and we know what complex carbohydrates are. They're complicated foods because they need to be broken down into simple carbohydrates. Sugar, deep roots, big grains that are full of glue or gluten or starch, and beans. This is a very complicated group of food because the body cannot do anything with this group of food until it breaks it down, digests it, and turns it into sugar, simple carbohydrate, which is fruits, grapes and strawberries and pineapples and so forth. So for you to take your energy in the morning that the body is now looking to utilize that energy to throw out the waste, to empty the trash bin, and you're going to divert that energy to now processing complicated food. And this is like first thing in the morning. Your body is full of energy. You're at your best first thing in the morning. So you're going to zap that energy doing something that your body was not designed to do at that hour of the day. So that break fast period is the time to put in foods that are going to facilitate the elimination. And this group of food, I call them the electrical foods, the foods that are high in electrolyte, foods that are high in moisture. So really, you just need liquids and fiber in the morning. You need to come in and hose out, sweep, mop, scrub, dust, brush, clear out the whole digestive channel from the tip of the tongue to the anus, that tunnel that runs through your body. I even question whether it's even part of your body. It's just a passageway through the body that you're supposed to throw stuff into this zone, and you're supposed to process it, and you get the nutrients, which is primarily bound in the liquids and the gases, and it's supposed to cross your mucus line and then now go into the bloodstream and feed the rest of the body. But we know what happens when we start putting in corrupt foods that distort the integrity of the body, then all kind of other stuff start to jump over the fence.
Right.
Cholesterol and
Mhm.
heavy, heavy metals and all these other types of things. So this third phase of the day, your intake mode. And ideally, this is between lunch and dinner. So if you're looking at your clock, you divide that clock into three parts of equal parts of 8 hours. And the natural time to be sleeping, to be fasting, based on the rhythms of nature, is within 2 hours after the sun goes down and up to 2 hours before the sun rises. So naturally, living in an environment, in your tropical, natural environment where life originated, it's pretty much, how we came over to this side of the world and got caught up in this system of working from can see to can't see.
Mm-hmm.
But in the can't see period, we go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
We go to fast.
Mm-hmm.
We check in. But from 4 a.m., when that rooster starts to crow, it is waking the town and telling the people the sun is coming.
Yep.
Here comes the chef. Okay. So the goats, the chicken, the birds, even in your suburban neighborhoods, they be tweaking at in your window every morning, letting you know. But here in the tropics, you hear coo 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 coo. They wake you up. Alarm clock. 4 a.m. 2 hours before the sunrise, they feel the vibration of the sun.
Yes.
So,
oh yeah.
So between 4 a.m. and 12 noon, as the sun rises, we rise with the sun. As the sun burns the cloud out of the skies, it burns the mucus out of the skies, out of your body. You want to get up and get active. Climb a tree, deal with your garden, run, swim, whatever you got to do. Open up the sweat glands, your organs of elimination, and just empty the trash bin. And before you do that, this is a very intense science. I could take about 3 hours to really go through this science. So it's what I call the electromagnetic energies of Sunfired Foods, and when to take what foods to facilitate the mode in which the body is operating for that time of the day.
Do you have a book, Dr. LaTham? Do you have a book? Is this written down?
It's in the making. It is written down. It will be published very shortly, within this month, as a matter of fact. This book has been in the making for over 50 years. So I'm relaunching my website. It is sunfired.com, SUNFIRED. And before the end of this month, there's going to be a brand new website. We're going to be posting it on all our social media platforms. It will be posted on the website. And there you can come to the website. You'll be able to purchase our book. You'll be able to take classes, online classes. And we have a TV station that's going to be on the website. So you can all the things that we have all over the World Wide Web is all going to be featured on our website. We're going to put in an archival bank on the website. So coming soon, we have recipe books and all of these things. They're on their way. So
good.
With our communities.
Everybody wants to know. I know everyone wants to know. What are your thoughts about COVID-19? I know that's a loaded question, but we cannot have a meeting and a podcast and a webinar without you telling us what are your thoughts about COVID-19 and what are you doing? What are your recommendations for those who have been diagnosed with it, and for those who, and those people want to know how to build their immune system to combat it?
Okay, it's pretty much the same like many other things that we face in this life. You need to be ready. You need to be ready, and being ready, to birth a child doesn't begin from the time you conceive. It begins prior to conception.
Yeah.
Okay. So to deal with COVID, we need to have been ready.
Yeah.
That immune system needs to be at full blast, that come what may, you have no food for it. the germs, the bugs, the viruses, all of these things, they're going to pass through. But it's the constitution of our body. Is how we're going to be a host for them, or how they, if they do come through, how they may possibly just pack up and keep on moving. It's pretty much the same as what we face with cancer. These are scavenger cells that are developed to mop up the filth that we have put into our body. So let's start from there. For me, the number one protocol of healing is prevention.
Woo-wee, come on now.
But then also we got to deal with the cause. The cause. Remove the cause first and foremost, immediately. Anything that's going to be a cause that's going to attract, your body to generate these negative bacterias to deal with this enemy that is invading our system, we need to get rid of that. So we need to look at the foods that our body was not designed to process. We need to look at the foods that leave behind the greatest amount of residual waste, or what we call toxemia. Toxic, poison, waste, filth, doo-doo, if you don't understand those other words, okay?
Or shit.
Right. Yeah. Straight
what it is.
Because a lot of us, basically, we've been eating just to do that. And the system gets shut down and it just doesn't work anymore. That trap door don't work anymore. So you need to wake up. You need to come home and you need to get clean, stay clean, and always feed yourself in that way. So of course, after you start with omitting the cause, then definitely the second protocol is removing what's in your system now. The waste that's in your system, the toxins that's in your system.
What's the best way to do that?
The best way to do that?
To remove toxins.
Number one is to burn it out, torch it out. So hot, spicy foods and acid tasting foods. So we're talking ginger, garlic, turmeric, hot pepper, garlic, onion, lemon, watercress, bitter foods, stuff that you just can't handle. And the more toxic you are, the more you're going to have a very deep, profound relationship with these foods, because they are going to be bringing back a lot of old memories. And when those memories come back upstream and they hit the bloodstream, that blood, it circulates in the brain and everywhere else in the body. But when the blood hits the brain area, it moves slower than anywhere else. So those toxins are going to linger on your brain a little longer than normal. So you may call it a headache. You may call it feeling dizzy, feeling nauseous. I want to faint. No, it's the shit coming back up and hitting the fan. That's what it is. So now we got to go into waste management. Because that's what we're dealing with. It is waste that is being unleashed, that's coming back upstream and smacking the life out of us. So unfortunately, the death of that chicken that you caused, you're going to reap as you sow. That chicken is going to come back and slam you. But your death is not going to be as swift as the death of the chicken. It's going to be slow, painful, suppuration. Cancer, arthritis, diabetes, you name it. Wherever it's localized, they got a name for it. Alzheimer's. I mean, I'm supposed to be Alzheimic by now. My brain's supposed to have been shrunk by now. I should not even be talking like this as a 73-year-old man. All this kind of stuff. My nerves should have been shot by now, especially eating 100% plant foods for 50 years. No supplemental B12, because I've been eating in a way where my body does not produce negative bacteria in my gut, in my intestinal tract. So my system is capable of synthesizing based on a clean digestive system, a clean gut. And this is where your immune system lies,
Right.
is in the gut. So if I don't have those unfriendly bacteria, my gut has the capability of synthesizing and generating the 5% of B12 that is retained in the body from the consumption of high animal protein, which is extremely high in B12. And you excrete 95% of that B12. So, you know, so with me being on this level and never no B12 supplement, never no cooked food for 40 years, I do not show the symptoms associated with a B12 deficiency. So I'm proud to be deficient in B12. Harvard University, you need to explain this.
Right.
Okay. You need to explain it, not me. You need to explain it, okay? So anyway, so this is why we come back to the main point. It's about self-defense, protecting your life, taking ownership, because you are the one that's been digging your grave with your fork and your feet. And it's a tough job to come back. It's a tough job because a lot of those foods are addicting, especially the starch, those complex carbohydrate. Oh, I bet you can't just have one. They know it. You eat one, you're hooked.
Yeah.
You back on the dope. You back on the dope. So you got to avoid that one. So the whole starch group, the whole complex carbohydrate is a totally unnecessary group of food. Okay? Your heavy grains, your heavy beans, and your heavy deep roots, because the body needs to rev up its engine, become a refinery to refine those foods and produce sugar. But you got cherries, you got mangoes, you got strawberries. So it's very difficult. It is almost it's almost impossible for your body to be able to harmoniously consume fruits and starches, okay? Watermelon and rice.
Right.
Because once you consume the watermelon, your brain gets the signal that there's sugar in the bloodstream. And then you go eat that rice, the brain gets a signal that there's too much sugar in the bloodstream from the watermelon, so I'm not going to secrete the digestive enzyme, the ptyalin, for you to turn that rice into sugar. So the rice gets hung up, undigested starch, potato, you name it, beans, which are 70% starch and only 30% protein. So you're not eating beans for protein. You're getting more starch, twice the amount of starch before you can get to that protein. And together they just don't digest properly. That's why they ferment, you get gassed up, and all of these other issues that are taking place. So your body is not going to secrete the digestive enzyme for you to produce more sugar to process those starches. You know, for you to produce sugar from those starches, because you're already full of watermelon, okay? So, and then the starches, obviously, you don't eat dry potatoes. You grease it, oil, fat, butter, lard, mayonnaise, margarine. You grease that starch, and that's in itself is a complete bad food combination, because you seal that starch, and now your body has a harder time to getting it. That fried potato is one of the most addicting food. You know, so it prevents you from enjoying your fruits, because you have a preference for the starch, because you're getting drunk. When it doesn't digest, it ferments. It produces alcohol. You get drunk, and you get all irrational and out of shape. And then, of course, if it produces alcohol, the byproduct is yeast. So you have a yeast infection. You have dandruff, or you may store it, you know, and it becomes crystallized mucus. Please now, you know, we have to really wake up. We need to come back home. And we need to defend and protect our lives. So arming ourselves with knowledge, with information, and observing, you know, what is going on in our body. Why do you sneeze? Why do you fart? Why do you cough? What is going on? These are warning signals. You ignore them, here comes cancer. Here comes arthritis. Here comes the tumor. All of these things, you know. So come on back home. We got to get back home to self.
I love that. So, Dr. Latham, how are you doing one-on-one counseling with people? How do people get a hold of you? Because you are amazing. You know, you remind me of the late Dr. Sabi. And you guys, I don't know if you guys were colleagues, but you guys are well above your time and with so much knowledge and everything that you're saying. I I speak your jargon to patients, and I put it in a medical way to them so they can understand.
Oh
And
yeah.
but everything you're saying is exactly what I tell them, and I feel good about that. I appreciate it, and I feel like I'm on the right track. I spent 15 years in school learning how to cut, but it hasn't really helped people. To be honest with you, it's just the
That's right.
band-aid. So
That's right.
getting to the root of the problem is the most important thing. And hearing you talk really makes me feel good that I'm on the right track as a clinician,
Oh
that I'm
yes. Oh
helping
yes.
people. So again, do you have the title of your website so we can get a hold of you? How do we get this website? How do we get this information? How do we get these cookbooks?
Okay, well, first of all, bless Dr. Sabi, Dr. Laila Africa, several of my contemporaries who have walked amongst us and shared so much with us. Dr. Sabi and I, our paths crossed. We've done work together in the past, but I want to let people know, first and foremost, I am not a healer. I am not a herbalist. I do not manage sick care in any way. So don't look to me to bring, your conditions at all. Dr. Sabi and these other, ancestors or, elders today who move in that direction, seek them out or seek their disciples or their students out. For me, number one, I never got into what I'm doing to heal anybody. And this is the legacy that I want to keep pushing towards people. It is you. It is your responsibility. It is not me. And there's no herb, no food, no doctor, no medicine that's going to heal you. You need to allow the body. Yes, the herbs are going to remove obstruction and stagnation so that your body can do what it's supposed to do, is heal itself. Okay? So I got into this for self-defense, and that's what I teach you, how to defend and protect your life, okay? The information is out there. All you got to do is do a search online these days. The information is out there. There are doctors like yourself that I'm so thankful that have stepped up on this level, because I really feel it for most medical doctors. I think they have bought a malpractice education. Because a lot of the issues that people are coming to them today with are all food related. And unfortunately, they don't know they were not taught much about food at all. So of course they throw their hands up and say there's no known cure for that because they were not oriented towards it. But I can give you a remedy, a relief, temporary, Band-Aid or whatever it is. But you need to get to the source. You need to deal with your food. So I will teach you how to prepare that food, how to select that food, how to be able to make it enjoyable for yourself, for your family, and then you are on automatic pilot when it comes to healing. Your body knows what to do from there. It's going to start rejecting the most objectionable things on your plate. So look at that plate that Michelle Obama designed for us in the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, the food guideline, which she called MyPlate, and see that she promotes that you have 50% vegetables and fruits on MyPlate. About 30% vegetables, 20% fruits. She promotes, this is the USDA food guideline, that you should have a good 30% protein and 20% grains. She don't even say starch. She said grains specifically. And she did not say animal protein. She just said protein.
Yeah.
They've been listening to the grassroots. Things that we've been talking about 40, 50 years ago, now we're pushing it from our level up to the top. And there are people that are listening, that are observing, or that have come up with it on their own as well. But look at your plate and see if it meets that guideline that she established for us. And then you start refining it based on your reality. Based on your reality. But that's a good starting point, and it's a guidepost. So what I recommend is pretty much close to that. Start off with 25% fruits, 25% vegetables, 25% protein, 25% starch, based on your health constitution, based on the physical demand on your body, your lifestyle, and these types of things. Then you start tweaking it and making it my plate. It is your plate. It is your responsibility. And, the body is going to do what it needs to do from there forward. So, for me, I'm just a model. I'm just a role model. I'm just an example. If I did it, if I can do it, and at this age, I'm still cooking, I'm still kicking, like this, then just take a page out of my book. Take a page out of Dr. Sebi's book. Take a page out of anybody's book that you admire, that you observe, and you see that, you want to look like them. You want to talk like them. You want to act like them. You want to be radiating and beaming and bouncing at 73 on a dirt bike, running through the mountains. You want to be climbing a coconut tree at 73.
Yeah.
You want to be 6 miles a day at 73. You want to be swimming an hour in the ocean.
Is that what you're doing?
This is what I'm doing.
Are you swimming in the ocean?
I'm swimming in the ocean. I'm in the Cayman Islands.
Ooh-wee.
Pretty much, I've been here for a year, and I've been pretty much, bless our people who have lost loved ones through this COVID situation. But I've been blessed to be pretty much been on a COVID vacation myself.
Yeah.
So you get guided, you get directed to where you need to be. But even if you end up accidentally in some place where you should not be there, or, it is just doesn't favor you and your condition, you still have the power.
Yeah.
How these things are going to affect you, and the main ingredient is your food. What you put into your mouth today walks and talks tomorrow. Your attitude, your energy, your spirituality as well. So those 4 bodies that you live in, that you carry around, including your body, your family's DNA, including that spiritual body, including those material, things that you got hung up on. And of course, your physical body, which is an animal being, and is one of the most endangered species of animals on the planet. So you want to protect the other animals, you look out for the one you sleep in every night and stop murdering it, stop killing it, protect it, and automatically the other animals are going to be at peace with you. You're not going to be chasing them down, or they're not going to try to chase you down, okay? You can live in peace and harmony with the rest of the universe if you look out for your responsibility and stop putting it on others. Stop thinking you could buy it. You can hire me. You can have a personal consultation with me. I'm about living.
Yeah.
I'm about living. I'm about living my life. So I'm putting out information. I have tons of free information out there. You don't need a personal consultation with me. You can go for free right now and put in my name in the dummy system, and you'll get tons of free information. Now you want to personalize it. It's on you to personalize it, not on you. It's not on me to collect money from you to personalize that information. I got other things to do. I got to live. I got to go swimming. Okay? So take a page, and see which one works best for you, where you are right now, and get started. It's never too late to take over and own your life. God thyself, in one word. God thyself. Okay? Yeah.
Now this has been awesome, Dr. LaTham. I am so ecstatic. I cannot wait to get this information into the hands of my patients. You have You have inspired me to do more research and to even um, go even deeper in helping patients with their eating. And we're on the right, I feel like I'm on the right track, and I feel good as a clinician. You always want to know that you're doing the right thing. We take an oath of honor to protect and serve and do no harm. And I feel like God has put me on the right path to do no